Well, just getting the other parts ready for the wings. I need to clean up that seam joint in there. I've just put some CA glue in there and waiting for it to dry. I can sand it out before I put this intake plate on. That is going to be fun. You got all these little photo etch pieces that attach to the back of the plate, which I guess push up against the fuselage mounting points. I guess they're supposed to be. I'll see how I go with them. They're rather small, and they got to be bent as well. So, and they say the way they do it, you put the wings on first, and then later on you're putting the front fuselage section on. I'm not sure about that, because that plate with the photo etch pieces, when you come push this in, might brush against some of them, break them off. I'm probably going to go put this on first, which would probably be the better idea, because its top is flush, all good. Just this piece, this section here, it's got a slight step, so I need to try and sort that to get a better fit. And I got the speed brake off. Sorry, my flap speed brake, wherever it is on this thing, and the actuators, I've got them off too. So the interior of that area is red, and there's red, that's red. I'll do the red first, mask it off before I do the metal work, the slat. So it's two halves. I've just glued it. It hasn't been cleaned up yet. To get it in, you sort of come in from beneath and then push it in. Like I said, I haven't cleaned the end up yet, so it'll fit better when I do that. I might, I'll see. Doesn't really matter, I guess. Paint it off or on. Be the same colour, most likely. So I'm started gluing the nose piece on. I'm doing it in sections. So I've done this side, so I will need a little bit of perfect plastic putty in that there, just smooth it out. Here you can see there's a slight step. So like I said, doing a Kitty Hawk, you fit, test fit, dry fit, and because I've glued it in sections, I'm sort of looking out for things I think I know I'm going to have trouble with. So that area there, I haven't glued this piece to the gear bay there, so that one. If I can get, I'm going to get something in that gap there and push it out. I'll glue it, and then that will need putty as well, just to get it flush. I prefer doing that. Then the other option is sanding between right here and here, sanding that away. I don't want to do that. That is an option, but I'm trying to avoid doing the rescribe in that area and changing the, even though it's only a little bit, you still change a bit of the shape of it. Again, I knew this area up the front would probably have issues, so I'm not too surprised about it. Alright, I've glued this, let it dry overnight, and it's beautiful, all aligned now, and the amount of putty I thought I needed, it turns out will be a lot less, so really happy with how that turned out. yes, it wasn't straightforward, but if you take your time and work through it bit by bit, usually there's a way to get things better. So I cleaned up that seam on the inside, but then I realised when I glue these plates on, there's more seam, so I've just glued them on. I haven't filled them yet. I need to put CA glue in them, clean up those seams. And also these ones, because when you put the wing on, so that plate needs to go up inside, and then that will plug in. The it'll fit, but it's going to need some force behind it to hold it, and it might need putty up the top end, or we'll see when I get that stage how big the gap is. So when that's in, you can see, if you look up inside the intake, it's a bit hard with the light, but I can see these quite easily, so I need to clean up that seam, and then I'll just touch them in again, paint them again. I've glued this, has been sitting overnight as well. Let's try that again. I don't think the tape was doing much, but a little bit. So like I said, when the wings go on, this is how much seam I need to clean up on the fuselage there. So all that wing covers up that, and that, I think I mentioned earlier on, that step, at first I was worried about it, but it appears to me that's just how it sits. I couldn't, it's just how it naturally wanted to sit. If you want to make that flush, you're going to put a lot of force on that bottom bit to pull it out, and that may start breaking things. Right, I'm going to put the nose cone on. Mine, again, is flush most of the way around, but it steps. It's got a step, it's probably between here and here. So what I did is I marked that area, and I'm using a scraper to thin it, starting up towards the tip. The reason for that, when you fit bits like that, and if you just sit here sanding away just to make it flush there, when you look at it from an angle, you see a huge step. So doing the whole surface, just do a bit. And I'm coming in, clean that with a sander, or a piece of sanding sponge. And when I get it to the right stage, I'll just polish that bit. This is my one. Because of the things you've seen how I fitted it, every one you do will probably be different, but that's just another little thing that had to be tidied up, and I'm just showing you how I've tackled it to try and keep the shape of the nose cone. Alright, cleaning up seams, so I've sanded back. I had to fill some areas. As you can see the glossiness there, it's CA glue. I'll go past what I need to. It's really tiny grooves I need to fill. So I was messing with these wings again. I can see the problem why this won't go on up here. It's thickness of the intake and the thickness of the plastic in here. Because that wing, you can see, didn't fit great, but the other side was worse. And then I looked front on, I could see intake's pushing the wing out. So I'm hacking away. So I got to thin this out basically. So I started off with a diamond burr, but I think it's probably just as easy. I got this scraper. This one's Master Tools, and I'm just keeping it. It's neater. So you just need to be careful you don't go too far, obviously, and you don't come out the other side of your wing. I've done a bit, and it's already. They still don't look good, but it was a lot worse, so that's the reason. So that's just something else that needs to be cleaned up. Thin the nose. She's good to go. So I'm gonna go over this again. This time when I've done it, I'll start masking off and mask off my wheel bay. Shoot it with some grey primer. I use grey primer. It's similar. Well, most kits are grey, and I can see it easier. If I do black, I find it harder to see the seam joins. So I'll clean that up, yep, and then I'll keep going on along. I need to clean up that end. That's it on there, and then work out the wing fit. And I was having another look at this, how that bottom fit needs to push in a bit, and it might be just a thing of thickness as well. Might need to thin some plastic just to get it to fit better. That seems to be what some of the fit issues are on the kit. Alright, crap everywhere now. Alright, this section is done. Hallelujah. So I've finally cleaned up all the little gaps I had, and I've rescribed it. Just use this, I've shown before. It's like automotive pinstriping tape. It goes over curved edges better, but you need to be a bit careful when you're running the scriber next to it, because it's what is that? Oh, it's not as thick as Dymo tape. What was that? That just went flying. So that's good to go. I can glue the nose on shortly. As you can see, I've painted in the combing for the instrument panel. I've painted up the other little part that sits there as well. I'm going to have a Google, see if I can see that from front on, to see if what colour the screen is on it. Same here, I've cleaned up the rear end and rescribed where required. I've about beaten this into submission to fit. So now I just push it on. Still needs a little bit of force, but that's all good now. There's going to be some real small gaps. I can live with that. They're only going to be very small, and perfect plastic putty will take care of that. So let me grab the other wing. You'll get an idea of how much I had to thin it, so you can see the thickness of the one on my right, this one, how thick those parts are compared to this one, how much I needed to take off or thin it to get that fit. And so this is the one I need to do still, but it's not too bad. Bottom's a bit worse, but same deal. I may not need to thin it as much as the other one. And again, because there's so much fettling and how you're putting it together, you probably build this thing 10 times, and every time would be different. I had another look at this before. I was just I'll glue the tail on after I do this on, which is pretty much I can nearly do that. I just need to clean up these intakes. Once I clean them up and paint them, I can glue that together. Then I'll glue the tail. Same thing here with the tail. It's a pretty good fit. Maybe a slight, I might thin it again, or thin this piece. We'll see if it gets a bit of a better fit. I mean, that's good, but I might be able to get it better. And then the underside looks pretty good. Time the glue gets in there, it shouldn't be any gap. Maybe there might need a smidge of putty, but if it does, it won't be very much. So, and I've done one round of clean up in that wing, the intake in here. So it's almost done. As you can see there, I need a bit more CA glue there. That one's not too bad, might be right. And then I need to do the same on this one. So I'm making headway. Alright, starting to glue them together. So I've just done the top part for the moment. I'll leave that a day. Then I'll come in, do the bottom. The back end needs to just be pinched in just a touch to get it flush. I don't want to be doing that just yet. I've cleaned up these intakes, re-sprayed them, so they all look good. I'm still working on these intake sections and the wing parts. I need a couple, or another round yet of sanding. I just put some more CA glue on a couple of little spots I need to tidy up. So when that is completely done, then I'll do the tail. I can't get out how big this thing is. It's about 46 centimeters long nearly. So yeah, I'm starting to get all the hard work, you're starting to see it come together basically. But that's it for this bench session, which was quite productive, but it is stinking hot here again today, so I can't handle the heat anymore.